Welcome back. Well, a second COVID-19 vaccine receiving approval from the FDA, with distribution starting as soon as Monday. But some are now arguing over who should get the vaccines first, the elderly or minorities. Here to discuss, former Vanderbilt professor and Black Voices for Trump Advisory Board member, Dr. Carol Swain. Doctor, thank you so much for being here, and Merry Christmas. We always love having you. Before we get you to answer those questions, let me read what was said in the New York Times and the Washington Post to give some context to this argument. Here's Harold Smith. He's an ethics expert in the New York Times, saying, older populations are whiter. Society is structured in a way that enables them to live longer. Instead of giving additional health benefits to those who already had more of them, we can start to level the playing field a bit. And here's Mark Lipsitch, an infectious disease epidemiologist at Harvard, saying teachers have middle-class salaries and are very often white and have college degrees. Of course, they should be treated better, but they are not among the most mistreated of workers. Carol, how did a discussion about a vaccine become a discussion about race?
Well, with critical race theory, everything is about race. And it saddens me that we have abandoned our core principles. And what you find taking place all across America under the guise of diversity, equity, inclusion is racism. And it's reverse racism against whites. And I have no respect for the ethicists that I see being touted because they have no moral grounding. They are not a part of the American Judeo-Christian value system when it comes to our belief in the sanctity of every human life, that humans are in the image of God. And discrimination is wrong. It's wrong if it's done against people of color, and it's wrong if it's done against whites, and it is against the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment and the Civil Rights laws. And it's time for people to stand up and defend our principles, our values, and one of the important principles is the principle of non-discrimination. It's wrong to discriminate against anyone, and that includes white people.
Carol, do you think they understand that when they are emphasizing race this way, it really is reverse racism? Do they ever have a sense that the more they talk about it, the more they perpetuate it?
They don't care. They absolutely don't care, but the rest of us should. And I believe that this is the time in America when racial and ethnic minorities have to step forward and defend American values and principles, because a lot of white people have been cowarded to the point that they will not stand up for principles. And I don't care whether they're Democrats or Republicans, you see that minorities are being used to pretty much destroy America. When it comes to even, something simple about the right to vote, the fundamental things that the Voting Rights Act covered, all of a sudden that's being used and weaponized against our system. Standards have been lowered to the point that you can get away with anything and say that it's being done for social justice. This is ludicrous, and it's time for more people than me to say this.
You're exactly right. You're a wise woman, Carol. And I also want to congratulate you this morning. You've been named to, President Trump named a 1776 commission. You're one of 18 commissioners. Congratulations. And it comes as there's an attempt to fight back against the 1619 narrative. In fact, 4,500 classrooms across America have adopted the curriculum of 1619 Project. Carol, what will the 1776 commission be doing?
First of all, I'm very thankful to President Trump for appointing me as a vice chair.
Okay.
As a vice chair,
I didn't even know that. Congrats.
I will be able, to really help shape the report. But we want to educate our young people and Americans about our nation's founding, about the 1776 Declaration of Independence, and just how those principles, those founded principles, shaped our nation. So much that's positive about America came from the Declaration of Independence. How many people have read it? Not many young people, and probably not many older people. We need to read the Declaration of Independence. We need to read the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. And this is a moment where everyone needs to stand up. And the American people need to hold their legislators, whether they're Democrats or Republicans, hold them accountable. They need to read it, and they need to stand up and defend our values and principles. There's no reason for them being in Washington if they're not going to fight for fair and free elections, if they're not going to fight for non-discrimination, if they're going to be silent. We don't need them.
Amen. Carol Swain, thank you so much. Victor Davis Hampton, Matthew Spalding, others, Charlie Kirk on that commission. You've got big work in front of you. Please come back and let us know what you issue in the report, and we're always grateful for your courageous and inspirational words.
Merry Christmas to everyone.
Merry Christmas to you, Doctor. All right, still ahead, calls growing for Eric Swalwell.